I know that adding milk to apple juice is not going to end well, so I wouldn't do it. But when I started my first affiliate website 7 or so years ago, there were loads of things I didn't know, so I didn't know not to do them. And I made lots and lots of mistakes. Hey there affiliate schoolers, and in this video I'm going to be showing you 12 of the mistakes that I made along the way so that hopefully you don't need to make them. By not following in my footsteps, I'm hoping that you can become more profitable more quickly and that you will save hopefully years of wasted time that I had to endure. By the way, you will make mistakes and that's a good thing, but hopefully they'll be small ones and not the ones that I'm going to share with you today. So let's get started. Mistake number 1 is expecting too much too soon. And I was definitely guilty of this, particularly back in the early days. And my advice here is to have a long-term mindset. Affiliate marketing is difficult, and it's even more so with all the Google indexing issues and the supposed extended sandbox time for new websites these days. So you really do need to adopt at least a medium-term view, and it's probably better for your mental health and the success of your business if you adopt a long-term mindset to success. Mistake number 2 is not being prepared to learn from your mistakes. You are going to make mistakes. It's par for the course. There is no way of avoiding it. And actually, making mistakes is a really good thing. It's the best way most of us learn. So be prepared to make them and don't get overly stressed about them. Everyone does it. The chances are that if you are working on your first ever affiliate site right now, you will probably look back at that website in 2, 3, 4 or 5 years time like I do and probably cringe. A little bit like when I look back at my first ever YouTube video and I go, what on earth was I doing? Third up on my list is understanding that not all advice is good advice. There is a lot of bad SEO advice, bad affiliate marketing advice out there. And if you are purely relying on YouTube or certain blogs as a source of your learning, then you really do need to choose those sources wisely. There are people out there that have been blogging for 10, 15 years who used very different strategies to what you need to use in 2022 to be successful. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that there are lots of people out there knowingly giving bad advice, but nevertheless, there is bad advice out there, so you really need to try and avoid it if at all possible. The fourth mistake that I made when starting out as an affiliate marketer was not having a medium to long-term plan. Now, this is a little bit different to not having a medium to long-term mindset, because it's one thing saying to yourself that in 12 months' time, this is, still probably only going to be making such and such amount of money, but actually having a plan of what you are going to do in the short, medium and long term and how you are going to get to the point of what success looks like for you, that's very different. So you do need to have an idea in your mind as to what that looks like. Now that might be how much content you plan to write on a weekly basis in the first 1 to 3 or 4 months. It might be when you decide to start actively link building. It might be when you start actively creating new sites. All of these things will come into and form part of your plan, and it is important that you at least start to think about that right at the beginning stage and review it as time goes on. Otherwise, you're just going to be out there randomly taking action and not really knowing what you're doing from 1 week or 1 month to the next. Mistake number 5 is setting your sights too low. And this is something I was definitely guilty of. And essentially this comes down to target setting and motivation. There's a really good book actually by Grant Cardone. It's pretty well known. And this kind of changed my mindset really when it comes to setting targets. And essentially it's called the 10x rule. And essentially it just means that you multiply your targets and your goals by 10 times. So if your target was to earn $1,000 per month in revenue, then multiply that by 10 and set your goal as $10,000 per month. This creates a huge mindset shift and will definitely change the way in which you approach your day-to-day activities around your website. It did for me, and when I started to adopt that 10x rule, things really did start to change for me. Number 6 is getting too wrapped up in social media. Now, you could look at this in a couple of ways. One could be the distraction of social media from a personal point of view, but that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you trying to promote your affiliate website through social media, whether that's Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. That should not be your primary source of traffic, at least for 95, maybe 97, 98% of affiliate websites or blogs. It can generate traffic, however, it's a massive time suck in terms of the amount of work you need to do in order to generate any real meaningful traffic from social media. For my portfolio of websites, I barely touch social media at all, except for a bit of syndicated publishing through IFTT, which is all automated. I don't touch it because the ROI on the time that you spend on social media is just not there, or at least it's not in my experience. And that was a mistake that I made where I put too much time and effort into it, whereas I should have focused on that organic search growth potential through Google. Mistake number 7 flips the last one on its head and actually leverages the power of social media. And this mistake was not finding a network of support. Now, a network of support, you could do that. It could be a friend, it could be family members, but the power of social media is really powerful when it comes to support networks. Facebook groups are a brilliant source of networking and support. If you can find the right group that has like-minded people with good, solid goals who are working actively on affiliate websites and blogs, then that can be a real great source of support for you. Also, of course, there are YouTube channels that have really tight communities. That's what I'm hoping to build here with the Affiliate School, and we're on our way. Please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to be part of it. Channels such as Cole Broadbent, WP Eagle, I'll put links to their channels in the description below. They're really good because they have tight-knit communities of people that are actively involved in chat, in commenting on videos, and they give a real feel of support to people that are starting out on affiliate marketing journeys. So this is really useful. It's good from a mental health point of view, it's good from a motivational point of view, and in my experience, it also helps from a financial point of view because it ultimately helps you to be more successful. The other thing you can do is to find a mentor, and this is a great support mechanism, and actually it works both ways, whether you are being mentored or whether you are mentoring somebody. The benefits are there for both sides. And it really does make a huge difference. Something that it took me far too long to realise, but now that I have, it really has impacted my business in a real positive way. Mistake number 8 is a quick and simple one, and it's something that I call perfection paralysis. And essentially what this means is that you just spend far too much time trying to create the perfect logo, the perfect design, the perfect copy, the perfect button colour, the perfect placement of buttons, and all this stuff, when really, when you're first starting out, this stuff doesn't matter that much. Even just spending so long trying to think of the perfect domain name, you could spend a month, 2, 3, 4 months just trying to come up with a domain idea. And in that time, you could have just started to make progress, got things moving, and then you can come back and revisit the perfection side of things later once you've got traffic coming in. You're going to need to do that anyway when you're looking at conversion, so why spend so much time being paralysed by aiming for perfection when really you need to just focus on getting high quality content out. Mistake number 9, and this is a really important one, in fact it's so important I'm wagging my finger like an angry school teacher. This one is something that is so important purely because if you don't do this, then your commissions could be cut completely, and it's reading the terms of service of affiliate programs. particularly affiliate programs such as Amazon Associates. There are so many little terms and conditions that you need to follow, and if you don't, they could literally turn around at any point and close down your affiliate account. And no, they will not pay you the commissions that you're still owed. And as their commission fees are paid in 2-month arrears, you could lose 2 months worth of income, which, you know, if you're earning $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, could be a significant amount of money. Mistake number 10 is not having my systems and processes in place. And I'll give you the example here of what I call having a content formula. Now, most of my websites have 3 different types of content. They are informational content, buyer's guides, and reviews. So nowadays I have pretty much a formula for each site that dictates how my informational pieces will look, how my review pieces will look, and how my buyer's guides will look. And this doesn't vary too much from review to review and buyer's guide to buyer's guide. So I pretty much have a template that I follow for this. Now, not having this in place can cause you to spend a lot more time on your content than you need to do, which particularly, again, in the early days is going to hinder the progress that you can make. So having your processes in place is a huge, huge help. Mistake 11, and we're going to talk about finances. And this is where you don't separate your business finances or your website finances from your personal finances. Now, when you're first starting out, the chances are that you probably did register your domain and your hosting and pay for it using your personal finances. Like, everyone does that. But it doesn't make sense from a personal point of view or from a business point of view to do this. So what you do need to do as soon as possible is to separate your finances. Whether you're operating it as a sole trader or as a limited company, or whatever the type of business formation is in the country that you are in, you just want to be able to separate those costs. The chances are that in the first 6 to 9 months of a project, you are probably going to be making a loss. So let the business absorb that. Yes, you might need to put the money in and loan the money into the company, but at least it's separate from your personal finances. And when it comes to doing things like tax returns, it's going to be so much easier if those finances are separate in a separate account than having them going out of your personal bank account. Now, if you're still with me, thank you so much. We've almost got to the end. We're about to go into mistake number 12. But before we do that, if you found value in this video so far, please bop that like button so that I know that you find this kind of content useful. Thank you very much. So number 12 is pretty simple. It's not publishing enough content. I cannot stress enough how important it is to really focus in on your content creation in the early days of your website. Now, what this means to you might be different to what it means to someone else. However, the faster you can publish content, and high quality content too, the better your website is going to perform. When I first started, I would probably create 1 piece of content per week. Now I aim, with a brand new site, I do aim to produce 1 piece of content per day. Now, that is probably not possible for most people, but if you can get anywhere between 3 and 4 pieces of content being published each week on a consistent basis, then you are going to have faster success than if you publish that content over a longer period of time. And if you do need help with your content, then you probably need to watch this video next, because I'm going to explain to you exactly how I plan and write my content, and even how I outsource some of my content with some of those templates included. So check that out next. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck with your projects.